everybody. Welcome back to Gardens, the Untold Story. I'm your host, Ken Somerville, my co-host and good brother, Andy Lopez, the Invisible Gardener. And he wanted to talk about energetic gardening today. And I think that this is something that a lot of people really need to start to understand, and how they can raise that energy value in their garden to grow more vibrant plants. So, Mr. Lopez, energetic gardening, where do you want to start?
Okay, so we had, if you're following this series, we had talked to a little, we talked a little bit about energetic healing quite a few months ago. So I'm gonna continue on that train of thought, in the sense that let me put it this way. So the earth is all about energetic healing, energetic gardening. Everything is energetic when it has to do with life. Very simple. And when you learn, one of the things that we talked about not too long ago. Oh God, two amazing gentlemen. I'm very excited for this. Hi, Rhythms of Creation. How are you? He's black. He's like white and red and black and
Yin
white.
and yang. That's that energy balance, right?
Is this a male or female? That's interesting. Or maybe both. Because the Rhythms of Creation could be anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, and see, I always look at things very differently in terms of normal people. So I do a show called Cosmic Gardening. And the Cosmic Gardening is about that. It is about using energy, frequency, and vibration. That's what it's all about. When we talk about water, the structure of water has to do with energy, frequency, right? And so, and then the biology really works. And it's really interesting because the biology itself, without energy, won't work.
Well, it's like your house. You can go flip the light on, but if there's no power going to the house, you're
Right.
still in the dark.
Right, exactly right, and that's the way it is with life on Earth. And I would think it's pretty much the same everywhere in the universe. Everywhere you go, there has to be some combination of energy. It's usually energy and matter, right? And how they interrelate with each other. Light is very fascinating. It's always been very fascinating to me. And one of the reasons why I find gardening very fascinating is because these plants use light. And I've always believed, and I still do, that as human beings, we use light. We're beings of light, and we absorb energy, which is light and sound and frequency, into various different ways in our body. The skin is the largest organ that we have of light. You think that your eyes have rods that tune into light, but your skin tune into light. So and the plants all use light to convert it into energy.
Now, guys, I want to, Andy, I'm just going to stop you there for a second, brother. Guys, if you look back at the history of our planet and the plants, etc., that have come into existence, every time that our planet went through basically a revolution of plants was when the plants and the biology learned how to use the energy from the sun that much more. So they started out with a very small frequency range that they could, use for energy, and then each segment they would use more of the sun's photons. So this is something that's been happening, for millions of years on the planet, and that's where, Andy, the different plants, like a Venus flytrap, doesn't use as much of the sun's energy as, say, a modern tomato plant, and it's all in that sequence of development of the use of energy from our sun itself.
A Venus flytrap actually does use energy, but a different type of energy than the plant, because it has to have energy to send and receive, to know that there's something there. So it sends out a signal, the signals come back. There are lots of different ways that a plant sees.
Yep.
So, and I always found it interesting. The insects, I like bees, for example, because bees have these multi-dimensional eyes, right? They look like 100 sides, and they focus. Each one of those little panels focus into a certain frequency, a certain range. So they have this amazing view, target, very different than we do, even though we are totally capable ourselves of seeing all these different forms of energy and so forth, because we're highly evolved, but because of that, our brain and our energy that we work with, we actually deal with greater. We can look at cosmic energy. We can look at all this. We have the ability to look at billions of light years away. We can actually see the universe, right? We look at it, right? Most planets, we're looking at stuff and not even say that's Venus, that's right. It's a whole different thing. So when we work with energy, an energetic garden is actually a method that what you want to do is we realize that the biology in the soil uses energy, and the plants are growing in the soil, so they use the same energy. And the key here is to have an energetic relationship with them, because what we do, for example, if we're a Buddhist monk, we have a different energy than if we're a warrior or if we were a carpenter or whatever. So our relationship with that energy makes it very interesting, like dances with the energy. So for me, when people and this is interesting too, because I'm just winging this, by the way, folks. I didn't write it all down. I'm just spitting it out. But we're going through an energetic change right now. We're going from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. That's really a way of saying we're going from one type of energy to a different type of energy. The frequency is very, very different. And we all know that the moon revolves around the earth, and the earth revolves around the solar system, and the solar system revolves around these other galaxies. And that galaxy revolves around a place in space. And they call it Aquarius, Pisces. That's the name for an area of space. And in that space, different energies, entirely different frequency. And a very simple analogy of the type of different energy would be, okay, we're going from the Piscean age, fish in water, to the Aquarian age, fishes in the air. They fly.
Dragons. Watch out for the dragons.
Entirely different energy. And we're only about maybe 10 degrees into the Aquarian age. It's going to go another 10,000 years. By 10,000 years means the length of time that we have to go through this area of space. And that energy is very different in there. And so that's one reason why you're going to find more and more people are doing things that you consider energetic, whether it be energetic healing or energetic gardening, because it's the same thing. Energetic gardening, that means you're creating a garden that not only is harmonious, but also generates energy.
Yeah.
It generates energy. The plants in your garden have a way of absorbing energy, but they also have a way of generating the energy. And if you become sensitive enough to where you're absorbing their energy, because normally you would want to eat it, right? You want to take that plant, kill it, and eat it, right? That's what taking the energy. But there are other ways that you can absorb the energy without having to kill the plant. Because eventually you have a garden where you just sit there and go, oh yeah, all right, oh, hit me, baby, right? And in my business, what I've learned, and I don't really tell customers this because they think I'm already crazy enough as it is. And what I used to do, when I used to go when I see a customer, it's one of those things where I automatically tune in. A couple of things. One, I tune into their energy level of that place, even before I meet the person. A lot of times, I'm consciously looking for the source of that energy. And every place, it's kind of like acupuncture but acupuncture for the soil. So you'll find that every property has a powerful being there, usually in the form of a massive tree. You go there and go, whoa, look at that tree. And you can see that's the tree. That's the tree that's generating all this energy and for the other one. So a lot of times, and also too, that's where the biology would be the most powerful as well. A lot of times when I was studying the Korean farming technique, you want to drive around and you want to tune in to that property that's going, right? And you walk, and what you want to do is what I do is I go up and knock on the door. Excuse me, but you mind if I take some of your soil and back with me? Because it's the biology there is so powerful. And usually you can see the mycorrhiza or whatever biology is in the ground. Like where I live here outside, right here in front of me, there's these group of trees, and behind me is a forest. Well, that group of trees, there's no place you cannot go without seeing. If you, what I do is I would I was planting things, so I put a shovel in and tuck, and you can see the layers of the mycelium, the layers of the biology. It's really, and they produce an energy. The tree produces a whole energy field, basically saying, "I'm one big giant being, hands off," right? And and so when I go to people's properties, I automatically tune in to what energy is going on with that property, and I like telling people I can tell a lot about you before I even see you by the condition of your property. Unfortunately, when they call me, the condition of their property is going downhill, right? It's not, something's wrong because the biology is not there. You see, the biology, I think that the biology is the source of this energy. Without the biology, you're not going to have the energy. You may have the tree there, you may have something that looks like soil, but you don't have the energy, and the biology is not the right kind. It's very weak. It dies off eventually. It's not like I don't know if I've ever been in an environment that's zero biology, because if the good biology die, you have other biology take its place.
If you were in that environment, Andy, there would be absolutely zero life there, because without that biology, there's no cell division. There literally is no life. But Tackmaster had an interesting premise here. Someone used AI to learn exactly what a plant needs. We can use frequency to code sound for headphones and speakers, as well as for memory storage like RAM. Why can't we do this for the garden? And it has been done. If you go back on the Soil Matters playlist and Harvest Harmonics, look them up. They have done this where they have tracked the frequencies necessary. They put that into your water, so a sprinkler system, etc., and you can get that right vibration for the plants. And they have an other half of their business is actually for the human body, where they're using frequencies to help with the human bodies. So that covers that. And then Silly Lily had a statement: if you don't experience energy, frequency, vibration walking through your garden, are you truly walking through your garden?
No, and let me go back to a second to the frequency thing. So I don't know if people know exactly what I do, but I do a variety of different things. So one of the things is that, I write music, and the music has a lot of different frequencies. I call it inner gardening as a way to give people. And I have over 690 songs, and basically there are different it's a carousel of frequency, which is called music, right? See what I mean?
Yep.
And so I started as I started doing at church. Basically, started doing gem elixirs, and gem elixirs are basically the frequency of the gem combined with the other frequencies that I want to incorporate into, because I learned how to use water as a carrier for these frequencies. And what I do when I spray is that I infuse my liquid with not only with the biology, but with the frequency that I find that's harmonious to healing the garden, healing the trees, healing the plant, bringing that frequency back. Also, I use a frequency that counteracts the negative frequencies that they get, because they get bombarded by 6G now. They get bombarded by all these different radionics, radio frequencies, whether it be AM, FM. I mean, they're being flooded with not so-called natural frequencies anymore. See, you have microwave, you have all kinds of stuff that's constantly bombarding it, so they become very weak. The frequency becomes very weak, and the biology is not there anymore. I've learned from experience that I can infuse the biology. I can say, listen, hey guys, listen to this, because that's what happened. I literally was taking. I don't have it here. Big speakers. They're about that big and really big, right? And I had a converter, so I plugged my tape deck into the truck and I play the music in the garden. I call it in the garden. The idea was to infuse the garden with with a frequency that encompasses the garden and protects it from the other frequencies that happens.
Yeah.
One of the things about healing that I use, that I've learned how to deal with holograms. A hologram is it's part of nature. That's why you've probably heard that we're basically a big hologram. This is a hologram.
I've heard that. Yeah.
What they're saying is that it's a combination of frequencies that are woven together to form a holographic representation of its sub. And that holographic representation is actually multidimensional. It's not just on this particular plane. So the whole holographic field interacts with, and it's really good in terms of protecting yourself from your phone, for example, or for all these, because your body is a miniature version of the universe, right? But it's also a miniature version of the garden. The frequency. So if you're a good gardener, they harmonize. What happens is, well, with me, I can't talk about everybody else, but I know that when I start gardening with something, I start tuning in. My frequency and the garden's frequency merge, and we make our own frequency, right? We have this unique, and what it does is that it not only raises my energy, but it also raises the garden's energy, right?
Well, and that's it. When you look at healing, like things like quantum touch, it's all about raising the healer's energy really, really high, and then when you're using that energy to heal someone, that person's energy has to come up to yours, and when it matches your frequency, that's when that healing happens. And it's the same thing in our garden and for our plants. Now, I have a question, Andy. Have you ever heard of organite?
Organite.
Yes.
Spell it.
However you spell organite. Anyway, it's basically they're taking metal shavings, gems, etc. They're casting them into a
mold,
epoxy resin.
Yeah,
and they're collecting the energy and they're putting it out in the garden, and I've heard of people putting it out around Wi-Fi towers to help block the RF frequencies. So then there's pyramids. Have you heard of people building pyramids?
Yeah. So I met Pat Flanagan. He's
Pat Flanagan.
Yeah, if you look him up, you see he's the one who really got into pyramid energy. He built a pyramid structure where you sit in the king's chamber. He makes smaller pyramids. And he works with the particular frequency that a pyramid produces. Mm-hmm. That's a very unique energy that you don't find in nature. It's created by us, by intelligent beings. That's why the pyramid was built that way. That's why you have this pyramid. Try to find a pyramid structure in nature, but you can find a circle in nature, which is another type of energy too. I don't have it with me. It's too bad. Maybe I do somewhere. But basically they're circle, ball, right? Oh, there you go. Yeah, right. So that's the name of a particular type of metal that causes that. But my experience has been that there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of these very same material, but in different forms that do the very same thing. I'll give you off the top of my head, for example, ironite. So ironite is a naturally magnetic iron. It's called ironite, and it pulls the magnetic field identical to the human body. So usually what I've learned to do is when I want to strengthen a weak magnetic field in a person, I want to give them something that the body will absorb. And the closest thing, and I would give them something that's the closest thing to that body that Mother Nature, for that electromagnetic field of the body that Mother Nature has. And this is called ironite. Ironite is naturally magnetic, identical. You can, if you were to hold it or come anywhere near it, I'll give you. Let me say. So I went to it's a convention in a convention center. They have I think it's equals something I forget the name of it now, but anyway, they had these computers that takes a picture of your aura. And you can see, take a picture, you can see your aura, right? All the different things around. So what they do is they take a picture before and after you are exposed to stuff, right? So when your aura is working function, you have it's expanded, and there are many different variations of that, how that field is manifest. If you're weak, you have a very weak electromagnetic field, or you see gaps in your field. So you have this brilliant field, but a big hole over here, or some really thing weird happening over here. On top of that, there are many different levels of your energy field. You basically have 108 different chakras, and chakras are energy centers. We all know about the eight chakras, the 7 chakras, the 8th one up here. Those are energy centers. That's why they're called chakra, wheels of energy. And basically, energy comes in, gets all this energy happens, but we actually have 108 throughout our body, because we take energy and we circulate it and do stuff with it and pass it on to other things. The pineal gland right here is your main director that takes energy and sends it to different places in your body. This point right here. So I've learned, the only way I've learned about energy is through my own experience, because I'm very sensitive. I can see these energies, I can work with them, and I find these stones, these gems, that actually your body says, "Go, give me that." And I also found from experience that your cells have different frequency energy. Therefore, they vibrate with different frequency energy, have different crystals and different gems. You also have different. All your organs are very different in their frequency. When there's so I studied radionics.
Okay.
And radionics, you know what that is, right? Radionics, have you heard of it?
I don't believe that I have.
Okay, so radionics was invented by a German, and I forgot his name, but basically it has to do with how you can send and receive energy, frequencies. And the radionics, there's the way you can tune into a frequency. And what it does is that you don't have to be in the person, so if you have, you're in Canada, I'm over here, to a radionic device, I can affect you.
Yeah.
And the simple theory would be, I have your photograph, I put it in the radionics device, and it automatically I'm in tune with you. It's like entrapment with you, right? And so the way this guy decided to set it up, he said, okay, so when you're healthy, you take a picture, you're going to have that picture, that photograph, have it's a picture of your energy frequency. If you can tune into that, you'll see this is how this energy looks like when it's healthy. And so,
okay, so I want to find a picture when I was like 23, 24, and I was
there you go,
up and healthy and good.
There you go. Right.
Make a big one on the wall, and then
right. So
into there.
So he puts it in the radionic devices, and he sends you that energy, and you get it, and your body goes, wait a minute, this looks familiar, and you just have to learn how to receive it. See, that's that's the other aspect of it, how to receive it. But so and through radionics, and I studied that for a long time, and I got to learn how orgone energy, for example, how that works, and how energy is sent and received. That's why I call it cosmic gardening, because we live in a field of energy. The Earth is literally moving through this amazing field of energy, and there are cosmic rays that come from one universe to another, to us, to another universe, on the way to another universe, right? It's like literally a being from another universe comes through our space, even through our bodies, because we get bombarded with cosmic rays all the time. A cosmic ray will shoot through the Earth in 1 nanosecond, which is 1 billionth of a second. Bing, bing, it's gone. And continues on to it. I think it goes to other dimensions, okay? That's just this universe. Eventually goes out of the universe and into another universe. Eventually, it's a group of universes which is a different dimension. And the dimensions also work in different levels. Like you have a multi-level, but all in one space. The space is very interesting. You can have an infinite number of dimensions in the same space. They inhabit different time, different dimensions. So to make a long story short, you'll find that in nature, and I get attracted to these things all the time. Things I end up. I'll be right back. I was just showing you stuff. Look at this. So this is a it's a arrowhead. See that I don't know if you can see it.
We'll put it up towards your camera and put your hand behind it. So
see?
like go like this up to your camera. Like it's so far away.
See, there it is.
Yeah,
that's their arrowhead. And this stone right here has a very, very unique frequency. That's why people are attracted to crystals, are attracted to all these things, because when the eyes see it a certain way, but your body sees it a different way. Your organ sees it a different way. The skin will see it a different way. So the single will automatically bypass your brain and all this stuff and go right to where the frequency vibrate together. It's like I showed you last show the tuning fork.
Yep.
So if you have a tuning fork over here going this thing, you don't have to touch that one. You're going to feel that one start vibrating with that one. Again, they'll both get synchronized together. And so and that's a normal thing. So when I started doing so what I do for the garden, this is I do two things. One is I work with energy for healing myself and other people, but also too it's very important to heal the garden, because I say, well, if I can heal the garden, I'm also going to be healing the people living in it.
I think Ghetto Happy's got it right.
Careful,
Andy's bypassing your brain, okay?
Yeah, the brain, look, there's a brain, the physical brain that doesn't know what the heck is going on, and it's limited by certain things. And we have the consciousness, which is not housed in the brain. Your consciousness is not in your brain, okay? It's not in your arms and not in your legs. It's a unique form of energy that encompasses the whole body. And in reality, it encompasses every living being on the earth and other beings. It's a one consciousness, right? We talk about one God is one consciousness. I talked a long time ago about a greater consciousness and a lesser consciousness. The lesser consciousness is us. The greater consciousness is everything. When we talk about the universe, God, whatever, that's the greater consciousness. So I learned to really, in reality, when I go to people's places, I automatically start working on healing the energy of that place. And quite often, I end up healing the energy of the environment around it, because what a lot of times people will, and they still do to some extent, they'll say, well, here's a map of where I live in Utah. Tell me what's going on over here energy-wise, because I can do dowsing, but you also can do dowsing not being there in person. So lots of ways.
Whoa. No, that's a new one on me. So you can douse for water and not even be on the property? How the hell does that work?
Right. So this lady, I'll give you an example. This lady, and I'm saying Utah, but somewhere out there, I've forgotten where it is, Oregon, Montana, says, I bought this property.
Yeah.
And I need to know if there's a water flow through here. What's going on? So it's a map, and that of the property, but I can see it all over around it. And the way it works is that I don't need to visually see it, because it's I forgot his name for it, because what happens is that picture and the map also connects me with the real thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I started doing, I did that a long time ago, and I have pendulums, and pendulums are very, very good for lots of different things. And so I can use a pendulum. So you know what dowsing rod is?
Yeah. That I do know. Okay.
Right, that you do that thing with, right? Yeah. Well, you don't really need that. So I was using that for a long time. I don't need that. I can walk around and go, oh yeah, look at it over here. But then because I can do that, I can do it anywhere on the planet.
We want to clone you, Andy, so we can have a whole bunch of you all over the place.
I could do it. So when I threw away the little dowsing rod and I started tuning in, I realized on a map, because I have this atlas. It's a big atlas thing. I can literally go through an atlas thing and look at it, and and see and feel the energy flows. And a lot of time water is very unique, so it stands out, whether it's underground, whatever. It sends out a frequency, and I tune into that. And I told her, I'm doing it on the map. This is where your river is, and she did it well. And there it was. So it's distant viewing.
Yeah,
it's kind of like distant viewing. You know,
well, just like you can do distance healing, you know, this makes sense to me. And guys, I know 20 plus years ago when I was reading Popular Science, one of the experiments they did was they split and I think it was a molecule or an atom, and they had one in one room and one they took, I think it was 5 or 6 miles away. And when they manipulated the one over here, the one that was 5 or 6 miles away did the exact same thing as the first one because they were still connected, even being miles apart.
The term is
perfect.
The term that the scientists are using is called entrapment.
Yeah,
that's the term they use, which I think is really, really very interesting term. I never started using this. You know, I like you when I went into you used a certain term. I go, oh, that's a cool what. So from my experience, I don't know what the terminology is. I just know that you can become entrapped with another object, and that object could be anywhere. And there are many ways to do that. So one of the ways would be like a photograph. So if I looked at your photograph, I become entrapped with you, regardless of where you're at.
Quantum entanglement.
Entanglement. Sorry, I was called it entrapment, but I was close. I had a trap in my brain because it's exactly that. It's an entanglement. Yeah. Right. So you all, and I still, with entrapment was my own verbiage that I threw out. Entrapment, you know, because it basically is the same thing. Entanglement, and you can get entangled with the energy. So I learned how to. So I do readings, of course. I do all kinds of readings. I do psychic reading, but you don't need people. I actually I thought about it, but there's these people you can call on the phone. And so the psychics are us, and you say they would do that. I thought about doing that for fun, but I didn't want. I'm not really that public about it. I get what happens is the universe has a way to connect me with people who need that energy, and we never even have to see each other. We can talk on the phone. Nowadays, I do it to my messenger, so the people get on the list, and I send them something. The universe comes through, and I do that. A lot of times I would buy a gem, and the gem comes to me, and I would make it a certain frequency, and all of a sudden that frequency is exactly what that person needs. And so it works that way. I don't consciously create these things. I just paint like I do my music. I have no idea what's going on, right? But it's all about the way the energy flows. And then when you listen to it, it may do nothing to you, but somebody else will go, "Oh my God, look what it just did to me," right? Or to the tree. Because remember, anything that we hear, the plants will get too. The trees will get too. Just because we hear it a certain way, they'll hear it a different way. But there's the same frequency, the same vibration. That's why I like using in my music. I like incorporating natural sounds, whale sounds, rain. I use the different bells, those different bells, whether it be bowls, whether it be a different type of frequency sounds that you can generate. Nowadays, because of equipment that we can generate all kinds of sound. I told you guys, if you were following me, which you should have, when I do my music, I use a program called Acid. And it started with Acid, now it's Acid 10, so it's gone through 10 different upgrades. It's called Acid 10, ACID, Acid 10. It's really cool because it allows you to either create your own music, or you can buy what they call loops. So that there are musicians that, how do we make money? Well, let's just sell parts of our song to other people and give them the copyright and let them put it together. It's a loop. And so I paint. Basically you have a paintbrush instead of, I don't know the A, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that whole thing. I can't read that, but I can create a blend of these loops together and make a song. And then I found out other monks who will sell me their chanting or the bell ringing. I can get all that stuff, make a loop out of it, and then that's the music. But when you listen to it, I tell people, don't do it while you're driving.
Yeah, no doubt.
But when you listen to it, your body actually listens to it, and not only that, everything around you listens to it. And then I have evolved into a holographic type of sound. That sound we play when we start with the our show.
Yeah.
Or whichever. It creates a holographic sound. I have evolved. I also you may want to look at Image and Water.
Yeah.
I always hear the music of nature. Exactly right. And we're a part of the music of nature. See, so we have. Until recently, we were harmonizing with the music of nature in harmony. Now we're not. Now we're actually disrupting the music of nature. There's a whole movie out. Basically, the scientists are saying, listen to what nature's saying, right? You hear all the birds chirping and all that stuff. And then there's one guy, he's a photographer, but he would also start taping. And so he would tape it every year, go to a certain place and tape it because he liked the sound. And then he realized every year it was less and less of that sound being made until now it's silent. And that's Mother Nature not doing its thing, because we have planes, trains, and boats and planes and all that other noise that interrupted their rhythm. Right. And so we know, and the guy says, I'm afraid to say this, but this is a worldwide event. It's not just this forest here that seems to be going silent. And that's us. We create this harmony really rare. It's easier. I saw a movie yesterday before yesterday. The title was, it's easier to destroy than to create. In other words, easier to bite than bark.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what we're doing. We are not harmonizing at all. And so when we go to do something like energetic garden, what we're saying internally is, I want to harmonize. I want to be more in harmony with nature. I'm tired of being in disharmony. And if we are in harmony with nature, we naturally would be healed and healthy. If we're not, that's what dis-ease is, right? Your discomfort, this ease. Right? You're not comfortable. You're not happy. You're not at ease, right? Dis-ease. See, right? Yeah. That's what I see it. And so to me, I'm being in one level, I'm being greedy because I want to be at ease with myself and happy and healthy and live for 1,000 years. Therefore, I want my garden to be happy and healthy, right? Because I tell people, how can you be holy if your garden is toxic and your environment is toxic?
Well, because if you're consuming that, you're going to be toxic.
Not going to happen, right? And if you're really super sick, I have to meditate, but I can't breathe, or my legs falling off, or all this other stuff, right? So for me, it's two ways. One is I practice it for myself, but I am grateful that I can go out and people pay me to help them to do that themselves. So they don't get that aspect of it. I don't advertise. Let me heal you and heal your property.
Yeah.
They would not do that because they say, no, there's nothing wrong with me. Nothing. But when they do call, it's because they see, well, that tree died. Like this place I'm going to now, they had 900 trees. Now they have 600 trees.
Yeah.
And the way the lady got hold of me was she got my book, which, by the way, you go to the website, you click on it, takes you to Amazon, and you can buy the book. It's $20. It's called Don't Panic, It's Organic. It's like, I think that's the sixth version that I've done, 22 books, but by version means every 10 years or so I create a new version when the process of upgrading the book again. But to me, all I could do is try to hint around it, because people hate it if I insult them. I'd say, "You're sick. You're one sick person," and that coming from me, the weirdest guy in the room, is kind of like, because when they see me, they go, "Oh, this guy's super out there." But I have an affinity to Einstein because he had the same problem, right? And so I'm basically Einstein of the soil.
Okay. Now, I don't know. Your eyebrows aren't quite as good as his. Okay, he had big fluffy ones.
Oh, if I this when I had my hair would be like this. Electricity would be sparkling out. I can't reach out for people because you get these sparkles coming out. So I have to tone down myself. But so I hide within. So I basically said, heal the earth and you heal yourself. So this is how I tell people you're sick. Heal the earth and you heal yourself. I made that up. But I didn't know you then, because if I had known you, I would say heal your biology and you heal yourself. But I was really rare. So biology also works for us too. It's all about the biology. It's all about our human body as well as the Earth's body, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I tend to blend the two together because I find that if I want to eat healthy, then my soil needs to eat healthy.
Well, right? Like Rhythm of Creation is saying here, otherwise maintain a high spiritual diet, and that's where we're talking about putting the energy into your gardening so that is up here instead of down here, right? And that's really going to help. And it all boils down to biology, and then building materials. You need.
So when you have a high spiritual diet, the last thing you're going to do is dump chemicals in your body. Toxic chemicals either in your body or in the soil's body. The last thing you're going to do is use the Roundup or whatever other thing you want to spray, whatever pesticide on the garden. You wouldn't want to be and unfortunately, we are eating stuff that has all these different things that affects our body. And your frequency, not only see. Let me see how I explain it. So the reality is creation came. First, there was light. In the beginning, there was light, right? The energy comes first, and then the matter comes from that. It's not matter that comes first, and then the energy comes first, second. So you have to have the energy first, and the energy basically is what creates matter. You have to have both, like two sides of the coin, black and white, good and evil. You have to have both, right? You can't function without it. So most people don't think of it this way. They don't see that the earth is a living being, living energy that you have to treat with respect, because it's going to screw you up. But Mother Nature is going to say, "Okay, I've had enough. You out." Right?
Well, yeah, and I know we got just 18 minutes left. There's a question that I think might take a little while to go over, Andy. What are the first few things you guys would do on a half acre of cleared pine and oak wooded area with a goal of having a prime area for deer and turkey to come through and eat and have babies? Clover. So what would you recommend, Andy?
Well, so it depends on the half acre. If it says cleared pine, so cleared pine, so it's a cleared area.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a good food for the turkey seed and a good environment, you need to set up a way of introducing live biology on a regular basis. And so you're doing is you're getting the turkey to provide the live biology, the poop of the turkey to provide the biology that you need. See, so what you really want to do is you want to grow anything that will grow there that's edible for them. The more variety you grow into that ground, like you don't just want to have clove everywhere. You want to have clove, and you want to have all kinds of other things that they would eat, they can eat, and that's the best thing to do. And you'll find that you'll get good at coming up with these different things you can grow, whether they're vegetables or whether they are herbs or whether they're native plants. Where did the person say they're at?
I don't believe that they
that makes a difference. That makes a difference, because if you're in Canada, you're limited to what you can really grow there, as opposed to be here whether you're in Hawaii or Florida. So you're gonna have to key into what they can eat. Because I go to this farm and I take care of these chickens, and I give them a lot of my stuff when I bring from my garden, because they like the kale, they love the arugula, they'll eat sunflowers seeds, they'll eat cabbage. So you want to have you want to learn to start growing, but figure out first of all what's edible, what they like,
Yeah.
and then see if you can grow that. You'll be surprised how much stuff they can eat.
Would it make sense for Rhythm to go to his local, you know, what they call Ag Society and see what local plants are? Like it says he's in central Oklahoma, lots of coyote, deer, and rabbit poop. We mainly want to see deer and have some food for us.
So I would find out locally from
Yeah,
the local ag what's available, or even you can even ask your computer, do a search. You'll find that there's lots of native stuff that you can grow, and you have to say, okay, is this toxic for the birds or not? And you can actually talk to lots of different people who have to see if you can find somebody else that's growing it or have a farm, because basically you want to also too, I would probably rotate them so that rather than so certain parts of your property, you leave it alone, you let it grow, and then they could go. You could move them there. So I would think about having a movable uh, house that they live in. That
you're
you can move
thinking of a
around.
chicken tractor, but I think he's talking about wild deer and wild turkeys, so it's coming into his property.
Right, I see, I see. So you just have to figure out what they like to eat, and that's what. And deer, I don't know about deer, but I'm pretty sure they will eat almost anything, but it has to be edible. You don't want to give them anything toxic from them. That's what I would do. I would start growing whatever it is that they want to eat. You can actually compute it. What do deer eat? What is and this was we're talking about coyote, right? Coyote. Is it coyote deer or?
Yeah, that's what he said. Central Oklahoma, lots of coyote deer and rabbit.
What's a coyote deer? Is it a deer that's like a coyote or?
Yeah, I that's a new one on me too, but I think it's just that the coyotes chase the deer. But remember that the deer are gonna eat the plant material, where your turkeys are more about the bugs living in your soil. What's called an arthropod, the smaller bugs. They're not necessarily eating any plant material. They're eating
Right.
the bugs that
Just
are
have to find
there.
out what they like to eat, right?
Yeah.
So you want to have it as wild as possible, of course. So you just have to look and see what in your area. Now, I would look around and find other people that maybe have a nice environment and try to imitate that. Wild berries just will bring them up during space there. Right. So there's lots of things you can start planning. Make a list. And whenever somebody suggests something, but I would go to a nursery. I would talk to the ag department over there and see if you find any other farmers, anybody else that's what they're growing, and you'll find that you want them to flow through your property. And I don't know why you want to do that, other than maybe you harvest the wild turkeys.
I would think so. That's and the beauty of having the animals. But I know when I was a kid, we actually took some of our grain. We built a snow fence around it and just had grain mounded up with a snow fence and a tarp. And the deer came in and they'd rip the tarp and the snow fence apart to eat the grain.
There you go. So maybe you should plant different types of grains that they can just eat.
Yeah. And I like the wild berries like Super Ness is talking about, because that's more of a natural food that they would have.
Right.
I think the more natural and especially with your area food sources, the better off it's all going to be. And variety, because we don't all like to eat the same thing all the time, and neither is a deer going to want that or any other animal. Our biology needs the variety because it's different components are coming into the body from the different food sources. So
you have to have the variety. Just don't get into growing any one thing. We already gave you some really good ideas there. You just have to do a little more research, look around, and you'll find that there's tons of stuff you can do. And you want to be able to be self-sustainable, so that no matter what the traffic is, It's not, they're all not going to die off. So you definitely don't want a herd of goats, for example, living there because they'll eat everything up. But so if you have it wide open and let it flow through your property, you're going to eventually just pay attention to how it works from year to year. I'm assuming that you haven't really started yet, or this is the first year, but you definitely want to slowly but surely let Mother Nature do its thing. You're going to find the animals come and go. Make it real easy for them to do that. I don't know if you're going to be harvesting the turkeys or if you're just doing the eggs or what it is. You didn't really say that what it is you're planning on doing, but maybe you want to, I have a feeling you want to get a herd of wild turkeys there or something, right?
Well, maybe it's just for Christmas and Thanksgiving, Andy. So they only need a couple a year. Who knows?
Right. So, but if you just want animals flowing through, you're going to find other creatures that come around there. I don't know if they have birds, but they may have eagles. They may have all kinds of other stuff flowing through there. I don't know if they got bears. So you have to play it by ear and talk to the locals because they can help you. I assume you're a local. You live there and you know the area, right? So you just have to, and it's very interesting to do it that way. So just have to. I'm glad. I would love to know how it turns out. What it is you're doing. A little bit more, more detail would help.
And if you can have some kind of a water source there,
that would be the thing, right? Water.
Yeah.
All the animals need water. Have a drinking place. Maybe even have a couple of salt. The deer like salt. What is it? Right.
A mineral lick, a salt lick.
A salt lick. Right. So you do a salt lick, and it was me. I would probably have like an observation tower where you can sit in the tree and watch the animals come and go.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. You're gonna have to watch them. So you can see how their patterns and whether they come and go. A lot of them will, if they like the environment, will eventually call that their home. Even though if they travel, they may come back and have babies there. Again, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you have a little movie going on.
Well, he says he's creating a nature's oasis.
Water indeed is in the plants, right? And remember the salt licks. You want to provide a little something, and also too a natural cover. So you want to have plants that, or maybe trees, or maybe have an area where it's a little more covered than have some place where it's not so much in the open because they need some protection, I would think.
Yeah, and he says for the family to enjoy, for animals to come and be safe coming through to repopulate.
And with a name like that, you better be doing that.
Yeah, no doubt, eh?
With a name like that, you definitely would. So what I would do is build the home so it's invisible. You basically can maybe have a porch on top. You can sit up there and watch the animals. Like I said, really cool. Be in the trees. Have a tree house. They can sit there and watch the animals come by. You want to have it set up to have water, but some form of protection. Maybe that you build something that they can sort of lie in and sleep in. But being out in the open like that is very dangerous.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to plant some trees or something, a section that's covered for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably be really cool if you get a river flowing through there.
Yeah, that might be a little tough for most people. That'd be like me having a river flowing through my house in the prairies with nothing but grass here.
I can help you get a river flow through your place. And grass.
Well, I'm not talking a river of tears because you made me cry, Andy.
And grasses are good. You learn how to grow different grasses, and they will regenerate themselves. And if you want it to be totally natural, sustainable, that's what you should do. Let Mother Nature sort of guide you as to what the best things can happen there. And you'll be open rather than say, this is the way I'm going to do it. Just see what happens and start planting things. That's what I do. I just start planting and planting and planting. And some days the deer and creatures will love this and they won't like that. Well, I don't want to grow that. And remember, weeds are just things we call weeds. You may find a lot of these things, weeds are actually, they may just love it.
Plants for the soil.
Exactly. Then these creatures will actually love it as well. You never know.
Yep. Well, you think a lot of those creatures, they go when they're sick and they eat these plants because they know that it's going to heal their problems by consuming them, it's amazing. Mother Nature has taught them, and she had taught us too. It just we kind of lost what we were taught and went a different direction. But we're coming back, especially if you're watching this channel. We're coming back to nature. Okay.
Just last week, I planted like 30 or 40 seeds of dandelion.
Okay.
And some of my friends said, wait, we pull them up. They're weeds. I go, okay. And they're not. And dandelion happens to be a very highly, and because it's considered a weed, it does exactly what weeds do. They're medicinal plants. They really are. The dandelion has rich in iron, magnesium, and it's very good for the human body. You can eat it. You make coffee out of it. Dandelion coffee is excellent to use. It helps your blood flow. And what I find in my garden that the rabbits really like dandelion. My cat went to a dandelion, started chewing on a leaf. Tracy, you have she said, I love dandelions. Exactly. Pink variety and Japanese. Oh, I love to get the pink variety and Japanese variety. I don't think I have, I don't know what variety. They're yellow. But I would love to get the pink. I would love to get the pink variety. Maybe you could text me a link as to where you get it from, but I'll start looking for it. So one of the ways I deal with gophers is I plant all kinds of medicinal plants. Toasted dandelion root, exactly right. And so they either, the gophers hate them, but I use them from chamomile to all different kinds of mints. And my cat likes to runs through the garden. So do the squirrels. Everybody has the right to eat. So I just keep growing more and more stuff. So that's what you want to do. It's just plant. And if it's meant to grow, it will come up again on its own. You won't have to do anything. And it depends on whether it snows or not. You have to really plant things that could deal. You don't want to be planting all the time. But if you plant something that keeps growing and growing, when it dies, produces seeds and so forth, that's what you want. Then you have a continuation of this food source, and then the animals will come around looking for that because it probably may not be available in other areas. Like the water is very good, shelter, good music is always good. You'll find that not only you can probably have other animals, I don't know what other creatures, but they too will be coming around because when you have deer, you're probably going to have some type of predator coming around. You're going to find that if you do it right, you have all kinds of creatures out there, and you're just going to have to let it flow, so to speak, because you can't pick on the predators any more than right. You have to if the predators go after deer, that's what they do.
Well, and you're trying to create an actual ecosystem, and you need the complete thing. Now, Super Nessa, your wife's doing an event. She's going to have T-shirts and that. Where is she doing the event, and where can people go? And Lily wanted to know if she has a website or anything that people can go on to get her T-shirts, etc. So, Super Nessa, help us out. Put it in the chat, brother. Come on.
We were talking about you, man, in terms of the sap that you're doing, which I think is really cool, and you're going to have to tell me all about it. I'd love to have you on my show. I'm looking forward to what these new age people are coming up with. But this old dude has been around a while, and I love it that the energy that you guys are doing these things, and I want to know everything that you're doing. And I'm even thinking, hey, if it's good for the plants, why can't I have some myself? It's a good medicine. You may get in trouble with saying it's for medicine. You just have to say it's plant. But a microclimate is exactly what you need. You have a little environment that takes care of its stuff, and year after year, it's just better and better and stronger and stronger. You learn how to use energy too for that. The animals will be naturally attracted to the energy. You'll find that there's a center. In every property so when I look at it, you can tell where the energy is the center, and you'll find that not only is that maybe a big old tree there or something, right? Maybe something there that's causing the energy to vibrate out on your whole property. That's
one other thing, guys. Speaking of that, is if you have a tree that's growing straight and all of a sudden it goes crooked and then back up, that's where you have an energy vortex. And your honeybees love energy vortexes and will live in that area where other animals will stay away totally from that
That's
kind of an
that's
energy.
because of their ability to tune into all these different types
Yeah.
of frequency. And
Yeah.
energy vortex is another term for a portal, where the
Yeah.
energy gets intermingled between the different dimensions, different frequencies, and because you can literally, your consciousness is the only thing that they travel between all these dimensions, all these frequency instantly. You can be all those places at the same time because you have the consciousness to do that. You have your consciousness is connected to everything, and so and nature, things have evolved to tune in. You know, there's a book called Tune Into Nature, but basically is, yeah, you tune in. They each have different ways of, they have evolved genetically to tune into certain frequencies. As simple as that. So whether it be the ants or whether it be the bees or whether it be,
Do you know Dan Shaw? You know, speaking of energy vortexes, Leighton, Andy.
yeah, call me Layton again, I'll shoot you. No, I don't know, man. I don't know who Dan Shaw is. I do know that energy vortexes are real.
Tracy, it's all about the biology at gmail.com. Try to reach out to Dan and see if he'll come on to our shows here. We'd love to have him on. This is the kind of stuff that's really going to help everybody. But brother, we had Brother Vet on your channel. Memorial Day in 2025 will be observed on Monday, May 26th. So it's a federal holiday. So guys, make sure you get out and support the people that risk their life to keep us safe at home.
I died in the service.
You were in the service and you
No,
came back.
I died in the service. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm not really here. I'm ex-Navy.
you're a figment of our imagination, is what
I'm a
you're
figment of
saying.
your imagination, right? Well, guys, we'll be back. I'm making up a new list of topics. If you want me to talk about something, you go to my website. I'm giving away my ebooks. Don't Panic, It's Organic. I also giving away Remineralization of the Earth, and I'm also giving away the Bricks ebook. You can get those three, and as well as the alternatives to chemicals for the home and garden. You just have to go up there, sign up for the newsletter, say I want the ebooks, and I'll send it to you.
There you go, guys. So anyway, guys, sorry for the last couple of days of conversations in Ken's Cafe. It's been a very interesting week. We'll just tell you that. We should be back up and going again tomorrow. And if you guys know of people on IG, on YouTube, or anywhere else that you think would be suitable for our channel, please help me by reaching out to them, because you know them, you've been on their channels, etc., and introduce them to me. But don't just send me somebody's, an email that I have no idea who this person is. They have no idea who I am. So help me help you get more content, guys. So we're going to take off. Andy, I'll give you the last word, brother.
Word.
There you go.
I just gave you the last word. You guys see you later, okay?